All right, folks, we're going to get started in a couple of minutes. Wait for a few people to get on. Make sure you share this video, invite more people inside this video. All right, folks, we're going to get started in a couple of minutes. One more minute, we're going to get started. One more minute. Exactly at 7:05, we're going to get started. One more minute. Go ahead and share this video. Invite your friends, invite your family, your sisters, your brothers, your aunties. We got a good one coming up. All right, so it's 7:05. I'm always being considerate of people's time. Welcome again to another Wednesday night live on Crowd Wall Street Entrepreneurs, where we're bringing you raw footage, hearing stories from entrepreneurs. And the reason we started this on Wednesday night is because a lot of time, including myself, inspiring entrepreneurs or business owners, people who want to tap into this industry, especially with internet today, we see a lot of successful entrepreneurs and investors and things of that nature on YouTube, Facebook, LinkedIn. They're showing the cars, they're showing the houses, they're showing the money. And sometimes it can kind of be misleading because they don't really show the process of what it took to get there. So it's a gap that's been missing from the media. And part of this lives that we've been doing every week is to find entrepreneurs who willing to share their story, willing to share their process. And so you guys can have a better understanding that, you just don't start from an idea and then next week you're a millionaire. There's a process that comes with being an entrepreneur. There's a process that comes with being a business owner. And if you don't understand that process, you can easily give up, quit, and your dream would just go down the drain. So for those who just chiming in, this is your first time on this video. We are Crowd Wall Street, which is a crowdfunding platform that helps minorities and Black founders raise capital for their businesses. We just recently launched maybe a couple of weeks ago. We in our phase 1 where we're offering rewards base for crowdfunding, and then eventually we're going to launch our equity and real estate base in the near future, real soon. So we have our own private Facebook group that you guys can get on. Again, Wednesday nights, we'll be interviewing numerous of entrepreneurs where you can hear their story, learn about their journey, their product, their process. And also on Sundays, if you're not in the group, get in the group. On Sundays, we're going to be bringing you a lot of training, a lot of education material on, business, finance, educating you on crowdfunding, about our company. And we just have a lot that we have to give. So make sure you join the group and tell somebody so they can tell somebody so they can tell somebody and they can tell somebody to join the group. So today, what we have is Katiana. She's actually part of our team, and I'm glad to have her part of the team. But we're gonna bring her on so we can learn about Katiana and her business, and just learn about her journey and what she's got cooking in the pot. I always say what she got cooking in the pot. So we're gonna bring on Katiana. Katiana,
Hello,
you know?
everybody. How are you?
Hey,
I know y'all can't respond. You got to type. I'm fine.
they can see you. They probably waving at you.
Yes, yes.
So it's a pleasure to have you. I appreciate you taking this time out to talk to these people. And I'm sure
Thank you so much for having me on your platform. It is an absolute privilege to be here and share my story with everyone in the group.
definitely, definitely. So I guess we can start off just sharing a little bit about yourself, and then we'll get into the details as we move forward.
Yes, yes. So I'm Katiana. I'm a Haitian American. I was born and raised in Haiti. Came here when I was 9 years old. I don't have the typical came from poverty story, from a third world country. I actually, my parents were both business owners. They owned a hotel and a restaurant in Haiti. So I literally came from, I was a product of entrepreneurs, right? And because of that, in Haiti and in other countries like Haiti, when you're part of the elite group of economics, you become a target. And so my parents came here, because their lives were in danger. Every other day, our house was getting broken into. People were threatening our family. So we came here for asylum, really. And so I literally saw my parents go from entrepreneurs on top of the world, making their own schedule, living the life that they want, to coming and clocking in for the white man. Excuse my French, my political
Hey,
incorrectness.
hey,
But that was a huge culture shock. Like, what do you mean we can't afford this? Or what do you mean we got to wait till next Christmas? Like, what is this? So
right,
that entrepreneurship bug definitely did not leave me. I was born into it, even though when we came here, that was not the case. So when I became an adult, I decided that I wanted to live the life that I saw my parents live back in Haiti, which is be in complete control of their time. And so I began my journey as an entrepreneur. I'd say I started when I was a kid, but really incorporated a business right after I finished my bachelor's degree in economics.
nice.
Um, yeah, so I don't know if I can go on deeper into the story. I don't want to ramble too much.
Nah, go
Um,
ahead. This
but
is you.
yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, okay. So, okay, I decided to study economics when I was in undergrad. I wanted to be in development. I wanted to work for the UN or the World Bank and just do my part in helping economies develop. And the more I studied, economic development, the more I realized the importance of entrepreneurship and small business. The roles that they play.
Right.
And so after I graduated with my bachelor's degree, I took a trip to Kenya. I took myself to Kenya. That was my graduation gift for myself, and I came back with a business.
Right.
So that's the short version. Yeah. So I actually, when I went to Kenya, I volunteered with a group of women where I was teaching them basic business skills, basic accounting skills, and they were making jewelry. They were making earrings, necklaces, beautiful stuff, but they were not selling. And so I decided, hey, I'm going to bring some back in the US and see what happens. And lo and behold, one of my best friends, Ara Bond, who is actually my business partner, she was like, Katiana, we're starting a business. Let's do this. And yeah, and that was the birth of Bjou. That was my first official business,
Wow.
incorporated in Florida and
Wow.
everything. Yeah.
So that's interesting. Coming, we hear a lot of stories, from uh, people coming from different countries that come to, the U.S. for that American dream, and
Hmm.
it's inspiring because my opinion, I believe that those individuals that come from, third world countries or these countries outside of America, they come with a
Hmm.
different motivation, different mindset, and it's like they come over here and they go get it, like by any means necessary.
Yeah.
They have that drive versus, us. I think for the most part, we can become lazy, less ambition because
Entitled. That's
entitled,
another one.
So it's like
Hmm.
you hear this argument where we talk about the Arabs, the Chinese, the Asians that come over here and take our communities and make money, but they have the ambition. They understand, like they know what's out there. They know how to market. They know where the money's at, and they go out and get it, and they help out their family. Versus us, like you said, we have this sense of pride, entitlement, and less of ambition, where we kind of play around with this thing. So it's
Yeah.
glad that you mentioned that. So let's talk about some of uh, the struggles that you besides the obvious coming from a third world country and dealing with that, but coming to the U.S., starting your business, Bjou, like what are some things that you encountered that was obstacles in your life?
Yeah, the biggest thing, and while we were prepping for this and talking backstage, the biggest thing for me was mindset. I was not ready to be an entrepreneur the way that I thought I was ready, right?
Hmm.
Growing up, I saw my parents really hustle, do their thing, clock in, go inside their restaurant, do the numbers, order whatever food, handle whatever customer complaints. They did it effortlessly. So I thought that, that's all I got to do is duplicate that. But what wasn't translated to me, mindset work, right? And just even just
Hmm.
believing in yourself, because there are times, listen, T, where I had to choose between putting gas in my car to go see a client or to go see a potential store that I could do a deal with, and eating.
Wow.
Right? And
Wow.
so when you're in that space of, you don't know where your next dollar is coming from, you don't know how you're going to pay your rent this month, the confidence level is down here. And so when you're sitting in front of someone and you're about to close a deal, or you see an opportunity in front of you that may be good for your business, because your confidence level and your mindset is not there, you will talk your way out of it.
Right.
Right? You will let the opportunity pass you by, and you will convince yourself that this is not the right time to take on this opportunity. And that
Right.
could have been that one opportunity that got you out of the state that you're in the
Right.
first place. And so, to be honest with you, the biggest obstacle was myself. That was myself, my self confidence. Just something as simple as doing a photo shoot, putting on the earrings and putting them on the website, like, oh no, I need to lose a little more weight before I put these on, or I need to put makeup, I need a makeup you come up with
Right.
all these different
Excuses.
excuses. Take the picture and put it
Yeah.
on.
That. Yeah. Yeah. It's real. And it's crazy because
Yeah, it's real. The
yeah,
confidence in yourself and believing in what you are actually doing, when things are rough, is the hardest part. Because when you first start, you've got that momentum, everything is beautiful. Yes, I just launched my website, and then you launch your website,
yeah.
crickets, nobody's buying. You wake up the next day, Shopify says 0 sales.
Mm-mm.
And then another day, 0 sales, and then now you're up here and you're slowly
Yeah.
just going down here.
Yeah.
And then to get back up here, it takes a lot more energy than it did in the
Yeah.
first place.
That
You know?
that
So
definitely. I think a lot of people can agree with this, including myself. I
yeah,
mean, uh, it's such it puts you in such a mental state that you want to give up because it's like first of all, you start questioning yourself. Am I doing this right? Then you start questioning.
Should I be
Right,
doing this in the
right.
first
Like
place? Maybe I should just go get a job.
especially for people who don't have that entrepreneurship background, that didn't come from that arena and just, testing the waters and just going out there. um it can do a lot of damage mentally. um
Yeah.
and
Oh yeah.
I've been there, because again, like I shared before, it's like I did not come from that background. So when I decided to get into entrepreneurship, and obviously for the most part things wasn't working in my favor, because I was messing up. I was making bad decisions. I spent a lot of money that it was nothing to show for, but I was just, I was learning. I was trying to find my way. So, but you have people on the outside that's looking at you and noticing like you're not doing anything, and they looking at you. So it's like, dang, did I make the right decision? Because now, especially when it comes to family, family's looking at you and they like, I told you not to do this, and you need to go ahead,
Oh my
you need to go
God.
ahead and get a job. Because, at the end of the day, and I heard this before, you know, when you starting off in entrepreneurship and you getting into business, a lot of times our circle are people that have jobs, and
Hmm.
it end up being the people we go to ask for advice. And that's the
Yeah.
wrong thing to do, because if they're not in that arena, what advice can they give me? So it's like the first thing they
Yeah.
would say is, hey, maybe it's not for you. Go ahead, go ahead and get a job, whatever. So
Or you can come back to it later. Like, what's the
right,
rush? Like it's the rush. The rush is I need to pay my rent, and to get a job. And they make it seem like, oh, go get a job. Like jobs are just readily available like that. Like one of the biggest reasons, which I didn't get into, but one of the biggest reasons why I decided to do business for myself is because there was
right,
nothing out there.
yeah,
Right? I'm a millennial, so I literally came out of high school in 2006. 2 years before the market crashed. So 2 years within my college career, the market crashed and there was zero jobs out there. By the time I graduated in 2010, guess what? The market still did not recover. So there was no jobs, go get a job out there. And when there were, and whatever jobs they had, I was serving, while going to school. I was a server making about 40, 50 grand a year. Every job that I sat down for was trying to pay me $25,000, $30,000 a year. I was serving tables
right,
making double that. No, thank you. I'm not gonna go get a job. No, I'm gonna go through this.
wow, that's crazy. Yeah,
That's a whole
yeah.
nother conversation.
So let's talk about Bjou. What does the
Yes.
name mean?
Okay. So bijou means jewelry in
Mm,
French. Right? And there is a saying in French, bisou bisou, like, oh, kiss kiss. It's basically, bisou means kiss. So you go and see your friends. You're like, oh, bisou bisou, give me a kiss, mwah, 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 like that. So we played around with the bisou bisou. Instead of bisou bisou, we say bijou
got it,
bijou. So that's what that means. It just means jewelry. You're just saying jewelry
got it,
in French.
got it.
Yeah.
So
Um,
let's talk more about Bjou. Like, what are the type of products and things that you're offering?
Okay. So with Bjou, we don't sell jewelry. We actually sell women empowerment. uh, it's funny. I'll circle it back to your first question about some of the
Hmm.
obstacles that I went through. And another obstacle other than my mindset was not having the right mentor, not being surrounded by the right mentorship. Right? With being a business owner, you need a financial mentor, you need a business coach, you need a spiritual mentor because you're gonna go through it. You probably need a mental health a
Right.
mentor or a therapist or something too.
Yeah, definitely.
You need a whole team,
Yeah. You need a whole football team for this.
a whole football team. And so I learned that was a huge learning curve for me. But finally, I got a business coach. And my business coach told me, no, Katiana, you do not sell jewelry. You sell women empowerment. And I was like, okay. So I sell women empowerment.
Right.
So the way that it works, the business model is All right. Most businesses that do this, like fair trade, direct trade, what they do is they employ women in developing countries. The whole thought process behind women is you teach a woman, you teach the entire village, right? Because the woman is going to go back and teach their sisterhoods, their little group of friends. They're going to teach their kids, and they're going to teach their husbands, right? So you literally elevate an entire village, an entire economy just by
Right.
teaching one woman. And so other companies, they employ women and give them, opportunities to make money. Bjou steps in and does business to business. So the women are in business for themselves, and we are either purchasing from them wholesale, or we are hosting their items on the website, and we get a commission of their sales, whichever one they choose. Okay. So basically, like, for example, I get these earrings from Kenya. Actually, these are not from Kenya, but let's say I did. I get them from Kenya. I purchase them wholesale from the women. They make their money and they go and pay their kids' school, and they don't have to sell their bodies on the streets. You know what I mean? Go crazy to make money. They're making money from their
Right.
jewelry. And then we turn around and we sell them on our website. We put them on models, make them look all pretty and nice. And then the end customer, you get to purchase a nice piece of jewelry, right? And you're able to help that woman, pay for her bills and not be reliant on other ways of
Right.
making money.
That's dope. That's dope.
Yeah. I hope that
Yeah,
answered your
it
question. That was
answered
long.
it perfectly, and I think that's a great business model, and it kind of ties in with that social entrepreneurship because we talking about impact, we talking about value, like your business coach, like she said, you don't sell jewelry, and I think that's
Hmm.
important for people to understand because you can, it's obvious you selling the product, right? It's obvious you selling the
Yeah.
service, but the key is what value are you bringing to the people? So it sounds better to say I'm selling women empowerment versus I'm selling jewelry. Because now, if I'm selling
Yeah.
jewelry, if I'm telling you I'm selling jewelry, everybody's selling jewelry. But if I'm saying I'm selling woman empowerment, now, okay, what do you mean? What do you mean women empower? Like how? Now, when you hear the story and it's like, wow, interesting. And now it's knowing that when I purchase these products, these jewelry, I know it's going for a good cause, which is encouraging me to know that my dollar is preventing that mother, that sister, of going out prostituting and getting involved in sex trafficking and things of that nature. So it
Yeah.
gets deeper when you understand that, and
Yeah.
that to me that's powerful. So let's switch it up. You have a partner
Hmm.
because I think this is something that should be discussed
Yeah.
and for people to understand because ultimately, like myself, when most of us start businesses, we end up getting into sole proprietorships and working by ourselves for ourselves and things of that nature. But when it comes to partnerships and having a team, um, it can get like it's a touchy subject and touchy thing to get involved with because now you have to understand how to be transparent, understand that it's not all about you anymore because now you have to consider your team or your partner who you're working with.
Yep.
Understand that you may not agree on everything.
You
So
will not agree on everything.
right, so it's like where's that line to understand like, okay, I agree, you don't disagree. How can we come to that mutual agreement? So like kind of share what's that's like how did that partnership come together? Well, you explain that, but just what's the experience on having that partner, that co-founder and working together?
Yeah, yeah. So it's funny you mentioned that. From the inception of the idea, I sought out an attorney right away because I already knew, I already knew that because I wanted this to be big. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Like I saw both Ara and I saw this as a multi-million dollar brand. Whether it became a multi-million dollar brand within a couple of months, or within a couple of years, or within a couple of decades, however long it took. At the end of the day, we were starting a multi-million dollar brand. And so you always want to set out that foundation, that vision, right? That
Mhm.
vision from the very beginning, and you stick to that vision. So when we got the lawyer, the first thing the lawyer told me was like, "Are you sure you want a business partner?" And I was like, "Oh God." He was like, "Well, I'm gonna tell you straight up. Having a business partner is like being in a marriage without any of the good parts." And I was like, "Wait, what?" He was like, yes, because he's a lawyer. He dissolves
Right. He
businesses
did.
all day long. He drafts operational agreements, all of that. So he sees it. And I didn't understand what he meant by that whole, it's like a marriage with none of the good parts. That
Right.
stuck with me. And
Right.
as me and Ara went through our journey, I realized what he meant. You have to treat it like a marriage, because this is a partnership, right? Just like a marriage, you're going to have to compromise. You have to listen. You have to be loyal, right? You have to communicate, communicate, communicate. And
Definitely.
like he said, none of the good parts. I mean, marriage comes with all that lovey-dovey stuff. Yes, Ara is one of my best friends. We could do that lovey-dovey stuff, but not everybody has that luxury, right?
Right.
Sometimes it's just business. Like, I could say to Ara, let's go have lunch and just gossip all day and be girls and cry on each other's shoulders. We can do that, but not everybody has that, has
Right.
that luxury, right? And so I think I'm going to be honest with you. Me and Ara, there was a point where we did not see eye to eye. Like, every conversation was a fight, and we had to take a pause. We had to pause the business and say, okay, we both need a lot of growing up. We have a lot of growing up to do. And she worked on herself. I worked on myself. And then we restarted the business actually this year. And it's not an easy road. And if I could do it all over again, of course I would always pick Ara. She's my sister. She's my soul sister. But if I could do it all over again, I would definitely, especially with a stranger,
Right.
I would definitely lay out everything from the beginning. And that's what my lawyer told me. You want to have an operational agreement, especially if you're doing an LLC together,
Right.
right? You want to establish the equity in the company. It's not always going to be 50-50. Just because there's only two people doesn't mean it needs to be 50-50.
Mhm.
Right? So you want to establish what is it that you're expecting from your partner, and what are they expecting from you. So it's kind of like a prenuptial, right? These are the terms of the marriage. And if any of us step outside of this is what's going to happen. So the operational agreement, to me, if anybody out there is watching this and has a partner, please go ahead and take care of that operational agreement. It will save you a lot of headache.
Definitely.
Yeah.
I think that's what you just said is a mouthful,
Mm-hmm.
and it's very valuable. Um, and believe it or not, through my years of experience working with startups, those things are not in place.
Oh yeah. Oh no.
And
It took us a while to even get it in place.
yeah, it's not. And the thing is, sometimes, for the most part, what you're saying right now, I'm quite sure is new to people, because nobody really think at that level
Yeah.
of business sense to have an operating agreement and have documents in order. Even when they're doing partnerships, because again, like you said, and
Yeah.
on one end, that's my best friend, that's my family, that's my cousin, my sister, my brother, but it's just a different world when you in business, because now it's like, you have to learn how to draw that line, because now business is business. And my thing, like my mindset before was understand like this the segment of it's nothing personal, it's just business, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
But I changed that mindset watching The Prophet. It's a show that come on TV called The Prophet,
Okay. I'll check it out.
by Marcus Lomas, I think his name.
Mm-hmm.
I love him. All his episodes. He's an investor slash consultant, and what he does is he helps establish businesses that's failing, that needs help, and he brings his expertise, and he actually invests in these companies with his own money, but he also put in the work as well.
Yeah.
And one of the things he said was that business is personal.
Yeah.
And when you think about it, it's true. So it's like, in the past, you hear people say, oh, it's nothing personal, it's business. But in reality, it is personal, because this is how I feed my family. This is how I put food on my table. So it's personal. And I think for the most part, people need to understand that. Like at the end of the day, this is your livelihood. This is how you feed your family. This is how you feed your kids.
Yeah, yeah.
And I don't see, companies, even watching that show, I don't see companies fall apart because of partnership, being in bed with family or being in bed with friends, and not establishing the ground rules from the beginning.
Mhm.
Understanding each other's values, understand what's my position, what's your position, and how much we contribute. And that's something important you said too when it comes to equity. Automatically, because it's easier, we automatically say, okay, 50-50. But in reality, it may not be 50-50. If I'm putting in 90% of the work and you only doing 10% of the work, why should you get 50% of the company and you not?
Exactly. And you also want to establish, why did you want that person as a business partner in the first place, right? So, I guess a mistake that I made was, hey, we're friends. We've been through a lot together. Let's run a business together. Obviously it worked out because Ara and I, we have that synergy and we created that synergy. We worked on ourselves. But, looking back, that's not the right way of picking a business partner. It's not like, hey, friend, what are you doing? Oh, nothing. Oh, let's start a business together.
Right. Yeah.
Like, I would never recommend that to anybody, even though it worked for me, and it might be working for some of you out there watching this. But if you're going to have multiple businesses and do this in the future with another project, I would highly recommend you vet your partners, your potential partners.
Yeah, that is important because
just like when you're dating, right? You're dating someone, you vet them.
You're single? I'm single. Let's date.
It's basically dating. It's dating because you want to see, okay, what are our goals? Are our goals the same? Do we view what's our spirituality? That's another thing, right? You definitely want to be aligned spiritually with the person. You want to be mentally available. Work on yourself. Any type of traumas that you may have. Because sometimes a person might just say, hey, how you doing? But because of your own trauma or your own mindset, you take it the wrong way. Like, what do you mean, how you doing? Yep. I'm doing great. Why do I look like I'm not doing great?
Right.
You know what I mean? So you gotta do all that because it's a relationship.
Yeah, definitely.
I can go on and on.
Definitely. So, excuse me. So let's pivot. Let's for the last part, let's touch on, because I know you speak heavily on investing when it comes to stocks. And I know right now with the pandemic, you have a lot of people now moving towards investing in stocks, trading options, and everybody's becoming this stock guru and things of that nature. So
I'm sorry to cut you off, but it's actually getting dark, so I'm going to move inside, okay?
Yeah, that's fine.
Don't mind me walking around.
So that's the wave right now. People home, they got nothing else better to do, so it's like, which is a great thing. It's not bad. It's a good thing that people are now getting into investing and getting into stocks, investing and learning about it. So, and I know that's an area where you focus on as well, and you coach people on it. So let's talk about that. Let's talk about stocks. Let's talk about investing. Like, what are some key things that the people that's on here need to know and understand about investing in stocks?
Okay, awesome. So one thing, I know you guys can't, give me feedback right away, but one question I want to ask you, actually I'll ask it to you, T. So let's say a friend of yours, right, comes to you and says, hey, T, I need to borrow $10,000 because I'm opening up a whole new department in my business. What are some of the first questions you're going to ask your friend?
They opening up what?
A new department in their business, their business that's already established.
For my first question would be, what is the $10,000 used for?
Okay. All right, cool. So the answer to that is, okay, I run a jewelry business and I want to open a whole new facility for the women in Kenya to be able to make their jewelry in a safe space. Okay.
I'm still going to ask the use of funds, like you need it for inventory, marketing. I would want to know exactly where my money is being used versus just giving me an overview. That's what you're using it for. But definitely that. And then I would look at the main, after I figure that out, the main question is, my ROI. when I'm
Yeah.
getting my money back, at what percentage, and then what's the time frame I'll be getting my $10,000 back plus interest.
Exactly. Exactly. So me being an established business, even though I'm your friend, you're giving me $10,000, right? You're
Hmm.
gonna look at my financials. You're gonna look
Hmm.
at what were my profits like, this time of the year last year. Am I gonna survive COVID? Like you're gonna look at all of those things
Yep.
before you hand me $10,000.
Right.
And so that's the first step. That whenever I work with students, that's the first thing I ask them. If your friend came to you and ask you to borrow $10,000, $100, $1,000, whatever it is, to invest in their business, you would do your due diligence and figure out, okay, I'm not just going to blindly give you this money because everybody's saying, oh, your business is good. I need to see it for myself. And so you want to walk into the stock market with that exact mindset. Because what is the stock market, right? The stock market is an exchange where corporations are able to raise capital
Hmm.
to fund whatever it is that they want to fund, right? So they're essentially saying, hey, I need $10,000 for my new department. So if you give me $10,000, I'm gonna give you a piece of my company. I'm gonna give you a share of my company.
Hmm.
Right. And so just like with Crowd Wall Street, it's the same exact thing. Me sitting in the investor's chair, and having a startup saying, I need $10,000 to create my prototype. I need to see, is this prototype, does it work? Is it going to survive in this new age that we're walking into? Right. Is it pandemic safe? Is it recession proof? Right. I need to see all of that before I give you my $10,000. I don't care if you're giving me 60% equity. That doesn't matter.
Right. Don't mean anything.
Exactly. So that's the first thing about the stock market. You don't want to just jump in and buy an Apple stock or Tesla stock because that's what's hot in the news right now.
Right.
Right. You want to set your goals. What are my goals? What is it? Why am I investing? Okay. Am I investing because I want to create long-term income? I want to create retirement, or I need a down payment on a house in about 2 years. I need about 20 grand. You know what I mean? Or I want to buy a new car that's going to cost me 3-4 grand. Why are you investing? And then based on that will determine your strategies. Okay.
It's funny you said that
Hmm.
because I think most of the people, especially those that I talk to that's investing in stocks, um, they don't have a strategic plan on why they're investing. I think for the most part, people just buying stocks for the hype and, post it on Facebook and say, "Hey, I'm buying Tesla, I'm buying this and buying that," just to say, I'm doing it. But I don't believe in. I know this for the most part for the people I talk to, there's really no plan on, okay, what's the objective versus just the easy thing that says, oh, I want to build wealth. you
Yeah.
know you
Oh,
know
I get that all the
yeah.
time.
So I think it's important, like you said, is to have a plan. Don't just,
Mhm.
I think, and that goes with anything. If investing your money in any type of asset, what is the plan? What is the exit strategy? Like, why are you doing it? Just because that's what people doing, is what everybody else doing.
Oh,
And I
because
think it's
the wealthy are doing it, but the wealthy are doing it, but the wealthy are doing it strategically. They're not just blindly buying stocks here and there to say, "Oh, I own a share of Apple. I have an Apple phone and I own a share of Apple." That's great. That's
right,
amazing. But what's your plan with that one share of Apple, and what is that going to do?
right.
Sorry.
uh,
That
uh,
was the meme. That was the
yeah,
meme Katiana
it's,
that came out.
it's,
But sometimes my
it's the
clients need to hear
reality.
that though.
It's the reality, and I think people need to hear the reality.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
I think for the most part, because now I guess you could probably touch on this too, because um, I've seen posts where people who's seeing the wave and they're trying to jump in but don't know how to jump in. Um, well, I guess it's a two-part question. So the first part is those people, like you're saying, understand and invest and understand a strategic plan, but how can one, because okay, you have those individuals that invest in popular stocks. because everybody else is investing in. So you have the Tesla, the Apples, the Microsoft, the Walmarts. Then you have one of my mentors that used to mentor me with. He does trading, but a Jewish guy. He come from a different perspective. He don't really look at the popular stocks because he feel like they're not as good if everybody already know about them. He like to find those stocks that nobody's talking about that has high potential and get in early with those companies. So he come up with these companies that, as pharmaceutical companies that's going through different testing stages, that's getting patents and things to that nature. So he look at his philosophy is, all I need is 10 companies that I can focus on. I can't focus on 30 companies, 20 companies. I focus on 10 companies. I understand that company because that's another thing. He invests in things he understands. So he understand these companies. He understand. He look at the financial statements, and that's really what he focused on. So my first question is, somebody that's new getting into investing that want to buy stocks. How do they find their
rhythm?
Right. How do they find their rhythm? Then I ask my second question after that.
Okay, awesome. So I always say investing in the stock market or any type of investing, right? Because you're going to have investors in crowd Wall Street, and it's the same exact process, right? So you start with your goal. If I always say investing is just like cooking or dancing, right? You can follow a recipe all you want, but you're always going to have your touch. You can follow grandma's recipe, but it won't taste like grandma's. It'll taste like yours, right? And then when you pass it down, they'll say the same thing. It doesn't taste like grandpa's or like grandma's, right? And your dance, you could get a choreography, but you're always going to have your own sauce, your own rhythm to it, right? It's the same thing with stocks. So don't be afraid of doing things and using your intuition. So that's number one. If your intuition is telling you buy that stock or sell it or short it, shorting is a way to make money when the stock goes down. We can get into that in another live. But if your intuition is telling you that, definitely listen to it, because that's part of your rhythm. That's part of your sauce, right? And number two, remember the goal, right? If I tell you, T, let's go, we're going to Canada and we're going to go visit my auntie. She lives in Toronto, right? If I tell you, put Canada on your GPS, will we get to my auntie's house?
No.
No, why is that?
We'll make it to Canada.
We'll make it to Canada.
There's not a defined address to get to your auntie's house.
Exactly. Now, if I put Toronto, we might get a little closer to my auntie's house, but if we don't have a specific address, we will not end at my auntie's house until we put that specific address.
Right.
So it's the same exact thing with your portfolio. You have to tell it its end goal from the beginning, not put some money in and see where it goes, because it can go left real quick. Right? And so the difference between the two that you told me, where there's the people that invest in the Teslas and the Apples, in the Microsoft and everything, versus your Jewish friend who finds the smaller companies and hopes that they grow. He is what you call a growth investor, right? So he's looking for the biggest potential in growth. So he's looking to find a company at its right before its peak. Right. So the business cycle, it has its different phases, right? So he's finding it right at the tip of the peak so that it goes up and then he cashes out once it goes back down, right? So that's what he's looking for. Other investors may just look for dividends. There's different people who literally just invest in stocks, hold them, don't care if they go up or down, but they're getting that check at the end of the quarter. Right? So that's that residual income. If you own, let's say, 1,000 shares of Apple or 1,000 shares of GE, General Electric. General Electric is only $6. So you could easily own 1,000 shares of that. Right. So you own 1,000 shares, at the end of every quarter, it's about that time, you get a $400 or $500 check, or whatever it is that they're paying a quarter. Right. So that's another type of investor. And then there's the investors that aren't necessarily looking for growth. They're just looking for consistency. So they don't want their money sitting in the bank per se, right? And collecting dust and losing value because of inflation. But they're looking for some sort of like steady growth, right? And that's the people that invest in your Disneys, in your AT&T stocks. These are stocks that normally stay in the same range. They don't really have high volatility like Tesla or Amazon or Google. Those stocks are super volatile.
Right. So it's more conservative.
It's more conservative, right? Yeah. And then you have the investors like me who are huge risk takers who ride that roller coaster up and down. And I do invest in the Apples. And there's people also who invest in the indices. That's another one, right? The S&P 500, which is a basket of stocks, the top 500 companies in the United States, right? You have the Russell 2000, which is the 2000 small cap companies of the United States. You have the Dow, which is all the industrial companies. You have the NASDAQ, which is mostly the tech companies. So maybe you don't want to pick the right tech stock, but you want a little bit of all the tech stocks. And the NASDAQ is a good index to invest in. You know what I mean? That's not advice, by the way.
Educational purpose only.
Educational purposes only. Don't come for me.
Like Katiana said this.
Nah, Katiana said it might be.
She was giving advice on Crowd Wall Street. So the last question. Matter of fact, two questions. So last question on investing. Then we got one more question for Bjou. So for investing, what if somebody right now is deciding, because they see there's two things going on right now. There's this group that's buying stocks, and hoping it grow. Then you got this other group that's buying stocks, hoping it grow to sell it, or hoping it goes down to sell it. So basically you got one group that's doing option trading, then you got another group that's just buying stocks. And this person trying to decide like where do I go? So can you kind of just explain the two and what's the differences?
Yeah, for sure. The two, right off the bat, I could tell you their goals are two different people. They have two different goals. The one who's buying and hoping that the stock goes up has time, right? So whatever goal they have time to reach that goal. The one that's buying because they think the stock is going to go up, the stock is going to go down, is a short-term trader because the stock's not going to keep going down forever, right? It's going to reach a certain point. What goes up must come down, and what comes down must go up. Right? There's always that equilibrium. Everything in life is always about reaching equilibrium, right? So if you're too high up, you're going to come down to the middle. If you're too low, you're going to come up to the middle, right? And so it really depends. The answer to your question, again, is on your goals. So, for example, I'm going to give you an example. One of my students, she called me panicked, and she's like, "Oh my God, I think she bought maybe about $3,000 or $4,000 worth of Apple stock, right? And Apple, obviously, when they split, the price went up, and then it went
down, right?
Which is normal, right? Because like Warren Buffett says, you want to do the exact opposite of what everybody else is doing. So when the stock split, everybody was buying. So this would be the perfect time to be selling it. And that's what happened. Basically, all the big boys sold Apple, and that's why it dragged the price down. But I told her, I said, okay, relax. How much money did you lose so far? I think she was down like $600. Okay. First of all, is that in your risk tolerance? Yes, it is. How much money are you willing to lose? I'm willing to lose 1,000. Okay, so you haven't lost any money then. Okay, so you said you're willing to lose 1,000 and you're at 600. You're good. Number two, why did you buy Apple? Oh, because I want to make money. Why did you buy Apple? I want to make money. Again, I'm going to ask you one more time. Why did you buy Apple? Oh, because I want to make some money next year. I want to buy a house. So this is a long-term trade. Why are you worried about Apple being down today?
Right.
You got a whole year. Apple hasn't even put out their earnings for third quarter yet, or even fourth quarter yet. What are you worried about it being down right now?
Yeah.
So you always have to keep in mind. Now, if her goal was to take that $3,000 and turn it into $6,000 by the end of next month, now she would be in big trouble because we
Right.
don't know what's going to happen in the next month.
Right. Yeah.
But if her goal is next year to put down on a house, you have a whole year for Apple to go back up.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You know, so
that it goes back to what we said. You have to have a plan.
You have to have a plan. Oops,
I see it on Facebook all the time. Like people buying stocks and then they'll wake up in the morning, the stock market is down. What happened to the stock market? Like, really?
Yeah.
Like,
Don't
if
worry
you're
about it.
investing long term, it's like it shouldn't affect you because that's what the stock market does.
That's what it does. It goes up
It's
and
like
down.
emotions. One day you might have a good day. One day you might have a bad day. You don't stop living. You continue to live your life, and that's the way I look at it.
Exactly.
So let's talk about this last thing. A question I ask all entrepreneurs. Where do you see Bjou in the next 5 to 7 years from now?
Okay. I love that question. I definitely see us hitting a couple million in sales. Okay. Definitely being a multi-million-dollar brand and also having more facilities because the women right now they're making their jewelry in their own houses or in their own village or wherever they live. So I would love to have different centers where they're coming in. I don't want to employ them because that our business goes business to business, but I want to give them a safe space to be able to create their jewelry, to come in kind of like a co-working space, you know what I mean? Instead of just working from home. Definitely have more control of the supply chain of command, right, from start to finish. Because right now I'm just buying a finished product. So if I could actually control the cost from the beginning, actually buying the beads and all of that and providing that to the women, and having a microfinance component. That's one thing that we're actually working on right now, where we have investors basically put into an investment pool, and then that pool will be small loans to the women. To teach them basic, they have to go through like an entrepreneurship course, and then they come out with a loan. And the loan will be very, very small percentage just to, teach them that discipline.
Right.
So,
Okay.
yeah. Mm-hmm.
Nice. So I don't know if this is inside information, but like, how do you find these people? You fly over there or you have some connects?
Yeah, it's sort of what I talked about in the beginning, how mindset is very important. And also I didn't touch on spirituality. Mm-hmm. That's another aspect as well. And it's sort of divine intervention, really. It started with just one group of women that I worked with, the ones that I went to Kenya to help out. And then, next thing I knew, women were reaching out to our Instagram saying, hey, I love what you're doing. Can we showcase our stuff on your site? And they send us samples, and now we're working with, I think, about 5 solid women cooperatives from Ghana, Nigeria, Senegal, and Kenya.
Nice.
And so to answer your question,
they find you.
They find us, really. They find us. They see our Instagram, they see our presence on social media, and they slide through our DMs and say, hey, I want to be part of this. So,
nice.
Yeah.
Sometime in the near future, very near future, if not this but next month, we will be hosting some interviews with people in Ghana and some other parts of Africa, because we do plan on doing partnerships with them as well. So that's a great opportunity. That's inside information. So
listen, don't sleep on Crowd Wall Street, man. This is going to change some things.
Yeah, man. So that's it, man.
That's it.
This was some valuable information. I'm sure the people don't learn, and most of the questions you don't answer already. Yeah, most of the questions you don't answer. There's one question Jamsky asked. I ain't understand what he was saying.
What did he say? Maybe I'll get it. What did
he say? How soon you pay this money back? I don't know what he's talking about. How
soon you pay this money back? Is he talking about shorting a stock?
I don't know.
Jamsky, if you're still here on live, are you talking about shorting or borrowing a margin? Was this like a stock question or was this a Bjou question?
He said we flying to Africa, baby.
Okay, well, if it was a stock question,
I don't think it was a stock question. I think it was. I don't know. It probably was.
Yeah, it sounds like it is. It sounds like a shorting.
Yeah, probably.
He's probably talking about shorting a stock. So I'll just answer that just in case that was the question.
Yeah.
Had the question. But shorting a stock is basically borrowing the shares from your brokerage to be able to sell them at a high price and rebuy them at a low price. So you borrow the shares and maybe sell it at $100, and then if the stock does go down, right, you may rebuy it at $80. So you would have pocketed the difference of $20.
He said that was for the question.
Okay. I don't know, Jansky. I don't know what you're asking.
My wife says maybe it was the loan question.
Oh, there was another question?
A loan question.
Okay.
I don't know, Jansky. Trying to rewrite your questions before we get off. We're trying to answer your question.
Yeah.
Nah, this was good. This was.
Yeah, I'm glad I could bring some value.
Definitely, and this ain't even Sunday, so I can imagine when we do our training on Sundays.
Oh yeah, I go hard. I'm a hard teacher though. I'm gonna tell you like it is. Like you're slacking. Don't ask me that. You know the answer to that. No. People like that though. You have to.
You got to,
especially when you're dealing with money.
You got to.
Yeah.
So.
Still waiting on his question.
Okay. It's something we discussed already. He was talking about the $10,000, giving the $10,000 to a friend.
Okay. And how soon?
Yeah. So
okay. Yeah, there you go. Bam. Right. Exactly. That's another thing.
Yeah.
So to answer your question, Jamsky, yeah. So just like you would ask that to your friend, like, what are the terms of this? And, are you paying me back monthly? Are you going to give me back a big lump sum? So these are the same questions you want to ask yourself before you decide on which company to invest in.
Yep. Right? And that's actually a topic that we will be going over in training on Sundays inside our group, because I think that's something important to understand, because there's different ways companies can pay you back in the private world, whether it's through net profits, through revenue, or it can be deferred, or it can be a balloon payment. Those things, there's a variety of ways you can get the return on your investment. So I think that'd be a good topic to train inside our group. So we're going to end it here. Again, appreciate you, and I appreciate everybody that was on this live. Again, share this video. It will be on our YouTube channel. If you're on this live and you haven't joined our group yet, go ahead and join our Facebook group, WallStreet group. Again, if you want to hear more of Katiana, we will be doing live trainings on Sundays. We'll be talking about investment. We'll be talking about business. And of course, we're going to be talking about WallStreet, crowdfunding, and the things that we're planning to do and are doing for the minorities and Black founders and Black startups, and creating this ecosystem.
Creating our own Black Wall Street, baby.
Yes. We can't call it Black Wall Street, but we are creating a Black Wall Street. And this is the beginning. And as you can see, the information that the team can offer is tremendous. So again, we happy we have Katina.
That's the tip of the iceberg. Yeah. His face, because you're gonna see her every Sunday teaching you something.
Right. So listen, again, I just made an update on my Facebook not so long ago to let them know we just got our first partnership with a VC firm. So we're creating that ecosystem. Of course, our success is you guys' success. So the more you guys engage, the more you guys join the group. Also, go ahead and create a free account on our website, crowdwallstreet.com. It's completely free. and you will learn how to become a backer for our rewards base, and eventually become an investor for our equity base, and learn how to invest in crowdfunding, learn how to invest in private companies and startups. Again, this is something that hasn't been open to us for decades, well, since this year. I mean, a couple of years ago. So now we have an opportunity to invest in these startups, like, the Facebooks and the new Ubers, and moving forward with these new companies that's being birthed out of not just Silicon Valley, but out our own backyards. Because now, we have unique and smart Black founders and Black entrepreneurs that can come up with great ideas. But the problem is they didn't have the funding, they didn't have the team, they didn't have the resources to bring that idea to reality. But guess what? Crowd Wall Street is here.
Yeah.
We have the team, we have the platform to help bring your idea to reality, and to help you raise capital for your startup, for your company, and moving forward. So again, we appreciate your time.
Can I add one more thing?
Yeah, go ahead.
So just to piggyback off of what you were saying, giving people an opportunity that pretty much was closed off to us. The stock market, as you know it, is a secondary market, right?
Mhm.
And so it is, when a company is publicly traded, then they're now able to trade on the New York Stock Exchange, which is the most popular one, the London Stock Exchange, the Nigerian Stock Exchange, all of that. And it's publicly available to you as a retail investor. But prior to that, shares are still being traded, but on the primary market,
Right.
and that's only through private investors. So what Crowd Wall Street is giving you the opportunity to trade these shares, to still participate in these before any company even goes public. So imagine if you had access to Uber, to Facebook, to Lyft, to not TikTok, Snapchat,
Right.
all these companies that went public within our, adulthood, right?
Right.
Right? Imagine having access to be able to trade those shares even before it went public. So that's the opportunity that Crowd Wall Street is. Well, one of the opportunities that Crowd Wall Street.
Yeah, and that's the thing people need to understand. Like when companies go public, that's like, in that ecosystem, that's like the last stage. That's like the ultimate stage. But there's a lot that goes on way before that we never had access to. Only the wealthy, accredited investors were able to get access to it. And even now, they change what accredited investor means now. So before, being an accredited investor, you had to make at least, $200,000 for the past 2 years, or 300 if you're married, and have $1 million net worth.
Wow.
They took all that out.
Yeah.
Now you just have to have, some type of experience, knowledge, or certification to show that you have the understanding and experience to invest in this type of asset class.
Yep, that's a game changer.
That changed the game.
Yeah.
But if you want to learn more about this, join the Facebook group.
Yes.
Chime in on Sundays. We're going to be doing some training. Again, share this video. We appreciate your time. And that's it. We're done. We'll see you guys Sunday if you're in the group. If not, we'll see you next week, Wednesday, with our next entrepreneur.
If you're not in the group, you will be by Sunday.
Yeah. All right.
All right, guys. Thank you, T. Thank you for having me.
No problem.
Bye.